Hi everybody, it's me, Arden Lee. I am back with another video. You know, life comes at you fast sometimes. I was thinking after I relaunched this channel with the intention of making more videos about the intersection of music and magic, that I was going to be making some introductory videos like, what is chaos magic? Or how do I launch a sigil? I kind of assumed that I was gonna have to make a bunch of content out of what I already know, like maybe before something significant happened to make a video about, because when you're working with magic, you can't really ever tell when it's going to show up. It's not like you can really make a content schedule around the way that magic is going to happen in your life. But since I posted the last video that I posted, which was the reintroduction to this channel, some stuff has happened that I want to make a video about. This is going to be a part one because I still have a lot more to do, but I want to talk about this now so that you know that this happened now. Today is Monday, May 17th. It's almost midnight. And yeah, that's when I'm making this video. So as soon as I relaunched my channel with the intention of creating more videos around music and magic and how those two things play out in my life, something pretty interesting happened. One of the ways that I know the universe is communicating with me is that I will see something come up in my reality 3 times in a row in like the period of just a couple days. And this happened to me this past week. I pulled a tarot spread about my music career. There's a lot of pentacles in it. Basically, the reading kind of said, yeah, you've been putting in a lot of work and you're gonna have a lot of work to do still ahead of you. But the middle card, the card for the present moment that I pulled, was the Devil. And this kind of surprised me a little bit because the Devil as a tarot card tends to represent the things that we're in bondage to, that we have attachment to. In the classic Rider-Waite tarot card, there are creatures who are enslaved to the devil. They've got these big rings around their neck that are chained to the devil. But what you can see in the card is that the rings are actually big enough that they can slip them off. So the Devil card in the tarot tends to represent those things that we feel like we're enslaved by or in bondage to, that we're overly attached to, but really we have it in our own power to take those chains off ourselves. We just might not be able to see it. And I kind of felt like I had dealt with most of those issues already. Like I said in the last video, I had an awakening, dealt with my codependence, got rid of everything that felt unhealthy for me, and made a life based in things that make me feel good. So I was really surprised to see this Devil card pop up, and I was like, wow, what does that mean? All the other cards in the spread make sense. I was like, is there a part that is there an attachment or something that's coming up where you know, that I'm not seeing, that's like in my shadow around this? You know, what do I have to look out for? And then basically what popped into my head was this song by The Pretty Reckless called Take Me Down. It's this great song where Taylor Momsen talks about waiting at the crossroads to sell her soul to the devil so that she can play rock and roll for the rest of her life. And there's a great bridge on it where it's just sign with the devil. So I went and put the card on my Instagram and I was like, haha, very funny. Yeah, I know, I want a record deal. Okay, sign my soul to the devil. And then I didn't think more about it for the next couple days. And then I was reading this book. This is The Chaos Protocols by Gordon White. Magical Techniques for Navigating the New Economic Reality. And I'm reading this book and I come across this section about making a deal with the devil. In the New World in particular, the phrase deal with the devil became a sort of catch-all for any agreement undertaken between a human and the spirit world. Perhaps the most famous example of this is early blues singer-songwriter Robert Johnson, who took his guitar to the crossroads and played several evenings in a row. Eventually, a quote, large black man, end quote, showed up, tuned his guitar, and handed it back. For the rest of his short life, Johnson was an undisputed musical master. He spoke quite openly about his deal with the devil, but the consensus opinion appears to be that his actual agreement was with the Loa, probably Legba in particular. So immediately I noticed, I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. Here I'm reading this book and there's a part in it about a musician who is making a deal with the devil, which I was just listening to that song the other day and I had the tarot cards. So, okay, I'm paying attention now. So that's 2. Later that night, I'm in bed and I'm scrolling around on Instagram and an ad comes up in my Instagram stories from an indie music artist that I've never heard before. And the text in the ad says, check out my debut single, Crossroad Deal. And I was like, Crossroad Deal, what? And now I had been home all day, so I hadn't said anything around my phone. Like, I know that our phones are picking up on things that we're saying and then showing us ads, but I hadn't said anything around my phone that day. And I literally only took a picture of the page in the book. Like, while there might be algorithms that are picking up on my enjoyment of dark wave music, for example, I don't think there's any algorithms that are so specific that they're picking up on things like The Crossroads and Robert Johnson. So I click through to this artist's profile and I scroll back a ways, and there he has an IGTV video about Robert Johnson and how Robert Johnson has inspired his own work. And at that point, I'm like, okay, all right, this is just too weird. That's 3 signs. Like that's when I know that there's a message coming through for me loud and clear. And I thought about it and I was like, well, I did just relaunch my YouTube channel with the intention of transparently documenting my journey through the worlds of magic and music, and specifically how I'm going to use music and magic together. I've been practicing chaos magic for about 6 years with any seriousness, maybe a couple years just kind of messing around before that. And I consider myself a pretty skilled magician. I'm pretty confident in what I cast for. I'm pretty confident in my sigils and my hyper sigils. Making a deal with the devil is a little bit out of my scope. I started down the path of magic. I was very specific about staying on the straight and narrow because not all entities in the spirit world are benevolent or have your best interest at heart. And you really want to watch and make sure that all the magic that you're doing is in your integrity, because it's like the real world, like anything, you can mess up. So for years, I stayed away from anything that seemed dark. I didn't want to work with any demons. I've actually worked with one demon. Funny story about that. It wasn't really my idea. When my album, Who Can You Trust, came out in 2018, I asked someone who I felt was a more seasoned magician than me at the time if he would help me by doing some work around my album to ensure that it was successful. And he came back and said, oh, yeah, I summoned a demon on your behalf. Fornius. I was like, oh, great. Now I'm beholden to a demon. So I looked into Fornius and I looked into what he's about. And essentially, he is a demon that works on the good opinions of the populace. If you are running for office, if you're a politician, you probably want Fornius on your side. He will persuade people, he will charm them into liking you and wanting to support you and being into what you're all about. And sure enough, as I said in my last video, my album got really, really great reviews pretty much across the board. I don't know if it was that the music was good or that the magic worked, but I kind of felt a little bit like Cher in Clueless when she argues up her grade and her dad, who's a lawyer, says that he's just as proud either way. So I do both music and magic, so whatever works, I guess. So anyway, this feels like a pretty big undertaking, not one that I want to do lightly, but when I get those big signs all in a row like that, I definitely know that I'm supposed to be paying attention. And I did just relaunch my YouTube channel, and essentially I said that I was going to be using magic to get good at music, and it kind of doesn't get more common folklore trope than the idea of a musician making a deal with the devil. There's been a number of examples throughout history. Tartini, the 17th century violinist, said that the devil came to him in a dream and gave him his most beautiful piece of music, which he tried desperately to recreate when he woke up. It's said that Jelly Roll Morton, the famous jazz musician, was under a deal with the devil that was made by his voodoo practicing godmother, Eulalie, and that when she died, he died just 2 months after her. Pretty weird. And while I don't have any evidence that Mick Jagger and Keith Richards made any kind of a pact, they did write Sympathy for the Devil in 1962, which is a song that is pretty flattering to the Dark Lord. And the Rolling Stones is now one of the most popular rock and roll bands of all time. Right, so if I'm gonna do this, obviously I need to do my due diligence around it. I wanna look into instances of magicians and musicians who've done this before, what's gone right about it, what's gone wrong, what do I wanna do, what do I need to avoid. So I posted some of these preliminary synchronicities to my Instagram story, and my friend and magical colleague, Marco Visconti, reached out to me with a message and pretty much confirmed for me that, like Gordon White suggests in the Chaos Protocols, usually the devil that they're talking about in these pacts is Papa Legba of the voodoo tradition, or also known as Elegua in Santeria. And keep in mind that, as Gordon White says, back in the day, any dealing with magic or spirit whatsoever was considered working with the devil. So Gordon White does include instructions for a crossroads ritual in this book, and he suggests specifically summoning Lucifer, because he says basically if you're looking for the devil, well, the devil could mean a lot of different people in the spirit world. I'm not sure yet exactly who I plan on summoning, assuming that I do go through with this ritual, because as my friend Marco said, there is Papa Legba, as Gordon White suggests, there is Lucifer. But all things said, I'm kind of curious to go and sort of just ask for whoever's calling me, because these signs seem to be pretty clear. Either whoever's calling me or whoever the universe appears to be setting me up with. Because this is not something that's coming from my own ego or an idea that arose from my mind. This is specifically messages that are coming through synchronicities. This is not something that had occurred to me before. So I want to be careful, because I don't want to just go to the crossroads and see who shows up, because I want to make sure that I'm using my discernment. But at the same time, I don't want to go to the crossroads and call an entity who actually is not the one who's communicating with me. So I'm going to do a little more research. I'm going to do my due diligence. And I did pull a tarot spread on what would happen if I did the ritual. In the past position, there was the Seven of Wands, representing a lot of competition and struggle. In the present position was the Strength card reversed, showing that I maybe have a little bit of a lack of confidence in myself, which kind of makes sense given that I'm a little shaky both on achieving musical success and also on making a deal with the devil. And in the future position is the Seven of Cups, which stands for having a lot of choices and having a lot of doors opened. And the top card, the overall guidance card, was the Five of Pentacles, which is very interesting because the Five of Pentacles in the Rider-Waite deck has a couple who are a starving, poor beggar couple outside of a warm church. So it's a card about help is right here, help is available to you, and you're not taking it. Which, that message certainly seems pretty clear. There is help that is available to me, and I am being guided to take it. Something also really important that Gordon White mentions is that you don't have to sell your soul to make a deal with the devil. What he says is, speak aloud about why you are here, what you intend to get out of this arrangement, and what you are willing to offer in return. Offerings include food, alcohol, praise, artwork dedicated to the spirit, and so on. You certainly do not need to offer your soul. So I'm thinking I could go the Rolling Stones route and just write a really nice song, because I definitely want to keep my soul and I definitely don't want to die anytime soon. So I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm going to go talk to my people, and I'm going to hopefully find a way to do this ritual such that it will be in alignment with my integrity, and then we'll see what happens from there. Apparently there is help available to me that I'm not using. So I kind of want to explore that. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'll keep everyone posted on what I end up doing. And in the meantime, wish me luck, and I'll see you in the next video.